What's up, Totem Pole Nation? This is Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. That's Lambo. I'm Matt. Today's video, we are getting into the primetime matchups of Week 9 and also the best games to watch in addition. That would be the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Me and Lambo are going to give you our picks on that and what we think about these teams. Let's get into it.
All right, matchups of the week. Obviously, you also have the NFC East division rival of the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And, of course, you have a great Sunday night game of the Bills versus the Bengals. But first, we have to get into tonight's game, the Steelers versus the Titans. Now, Mike Vrabel came out, I think it was early this week, maybe today, some point before the game, and said that Will Levis is not officially the starter. They're still working their way between Levis and Malik Willis. You know, Mike Vrabel's been under Belichick, so you don't really name the starters. All right, so we're trying to see how well they're going to play. Now, DeAndre Hopkins last week did go off for 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry did have over 100 yards rushing. But despite the Steelers' offense struggles, their defense has kept them in games. This game could be a toss-up. It could go either way. Now, I don't think Kenny Pickett is playing tonight. He did get hurt last week against Jacksonville, so if he does not play, Mitch Trubisky will start. Now, I understand the Titans have 2 quarterbacks, and you wanted me to change my pick. That's not going to happen. I understand Mitch Trubisky is also not the same quarterback that he once was with the Bears. Now, I'm not saying he was all that. He was okay. He wasn't a bum or scrum or none of that stuff. In this game, both teams have quarterback problems, obviously. But you have mentioned weeks ago that the Titans' pass defense is just awful and all this other stuff. So my confidence is going to go towards the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't have faith in their offense. I have faith in their defense because of Mike Tomlin coach team that's been there for 17 years. They're not the steel curtain defense. I get that. They don't have the Hall of Famers that they used to have. But coaching-wise, Mike Vrabel's a great coach. I'm not saying he's not. I'm trusting Mike Tomlin, the passion and the fight that the Steelers have, because when it really comes down to it, the Steelers defense has won them games in the fourth quarter. I'm going to go ahead and take the Pittsburgh Steelers, as much as I hate them.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well, and I'm a hater as well. So it's not the most fun thing to do, but the book has it at -3, and I think it's going to be around there. It could be a little bit wider than that. Both of these teams statistically have very bad defenses. But I do think that this game comes down to, in what I think the general consensus is, Will Levis will be playing the majority of the snaps at least. And he's got to be able to handle, and his O-line has to be able to handle the pass rush of the Steelers. And the Steelers are tied for second in turnover differential at +7. They're in the top half of the league in sacks. TJ Watt is tied for third in the league with 8.5 sacks right now. And Will Levis played a great game in his first game, but you saw him make multiple throws into some tight coverages and double coverages. And I wouldn't be surprised if this week, playing against a much better defense in the Steelers when it comes to creating turnovers and then not turning it over themselves, I just think it's a little bit too much to overcome. So, I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers force a couple turnovers. Derrick Henry should be able to have a good game. So I'm not saying don't put anything on his over-under or anything, because the Steelers are allowing 140 rushing yards a game. So Derrick should be able to have his impact, but I'm with you. I trust the defense of the Steelers against this offense.
All right, the game in Germany, I think it's a 2-part series, a 3-part series. First game of Germany, Dolphins versus the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, ladies and gentlemen, is going to come for revenge. He's mentioned in other podcasts that the Chiefs gave him some type of guaranteed money, but it wasn't enough. The Miami Dolphins gave him more money. He also mentioned the Jets were in contact with him as well, and he signed with Miami. There's a lot of revenge going on. I don't think there's a lot of hatred, but I think Tyreek said he's coming. He don't care what team he's playing. He's coming. Now, the Dolphins are number 1 in rushing, passing, and number 1 in total offense. Their defense is ranked 21st. You said yesterday, the defense isn't really all that. Now they have Jalen Ramsey back. He was back against the Patriots. Obviously, Mac Jones with the dumbass throw that cost us the game in the second quarter. But you've mentioned the defense is not really all that. And from what you've seen as well, the Chiefs defense this year has been better under Andy Reid in a very, very, very long time. Steve Spags, who has a history of beating the Patriots and the Giants in '07, he's a great defensive coordinator. They've been consistent. They're fifth in total defense, and they're third in passing on offense, and their offense is ranked number 4. But they're rushing. They don't run the ball very well, the Chiefs. So, as much as I love Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tua, no doubt. Duh. When it comes to the run game of the offense, Mike McDaniel bringing in that 49ers type West Coast offense with Raheem Moister in the backfield. Now, I know you didn't have a great game against the Patriots defense, which is surprising. They threw the ball to them. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this game because when it really comes down to running the football, I trust the Dolphins to run the ball more than the Kansas City Chiefs. And despite the drops they had against the Denver Broncos, it was awful. Now, they're still working in rotations of wide receivers, obviously, but Travis Kelce cannot be your main target. And Jalen Ramsey coming off injury in 94 days, great miracle. I expect him to somewhat travel with Tyreek Hill. Now, obviously, you don't got the same speed, but Tyreek Hill versus Jalen Ramsey will be the matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins to upset the Chiefs.
They're on the same team.
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. I apologize. Never mind. Forget what I just said. But I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this game based off the running game. Now, this could be a high-scoring game as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins to win this.
I got you. Well, I'm on the Chiefs. I think it's going to be super close for sure. But, the Chiefs defense has been great this year, and it's obviously going to have to continue to be great against the best offense in the league. But you bring up the running game. That's never been their identity. They've never been a run-first team. And also, Travis Kelce has to be the primary target. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the league at the tight end position. So where they are lacking in supporting cast in the wide receiver room for sure. I'm not arguing you with that. But Travis Kelce does need to be the main target. He's one of the best ball catchers in the league, and he's doing it from the tight end spot. And you're right. The Jalen Ramsey addition to this defense makes it a completely different team. And then also Xavier Howard might be coming back this week as well. So if they get their 1 and 2 corners back, this defense looks completely different. And my assessment of them will definitely change accordingly with what they show us on the field. But going into this game, they still have, the other Jalen basically erases a half of the field. But if there's a quarterback that I trust to be able to maneuver that, it's going to be Pat. Now he's going to have to watch the turnovers against a freshly healthy secondary, right? He's tied for second in the league right now with 8 interceptions. So he's not going to be able to, he can't play like he played last week for sure. And apparently he had the flu, so it's not a trend or anything. Chiefs are middle of the pack in run defense, so Raheem could have a nice game, but at the same time could not. It's that they're very hit or miss when it comes to run D, and their secondary is elite. So, they're the top 2, top 3, I think, in pass defense in the league. So if there's a team that will limit this explosive offense, I think it's going to be the Chiefs. So that's why I've got the Chiefs in this one. I got it 35-31. I think they're going to score points.
All right, next game, Sunday matchup before Sunday Night Football. Those Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of shit talk, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of excitement. Now, both of these teams, this is a battle for the division, obviously. Now, I understand they played each other twice, but both of these games count. But it's about who's going to have more leverage going forward. The Eagles at 7-1, the Cowboys at 5-2. Now, this pick might shock you because I expressed that the Eagles' defense has been very, very suspect all year. especially the Commanders, put up 30-something points twice when they played against them. So that concerns me. Jalen Hurts has turned the ball over as well. That concerns me as well. The run game has been very, very excellent. They just can't be a pass-first team against this Dallas Cowboys. Despite them losing Trey Diggs, they have Bland, who has had, 3 pick sixes in like 3 straight weeks or something. So, I mean, my God, the Cowboys defense is still elite. They still have Michael Parsons. You can't forget about that. They still have Stephon Gilmore. You can't forget about that. They still have Dak Prescott, Devontae Turpin, CeeDee Lamb, all those guys. Now, I understand have home field advantage. I get that. It's a tough place to play in Philadelphia. I understand that. They hadn't lost at home. The road game was they lost to the Jets. Now, Eagles' offense is better than the Cowboys' offense despite numbers and also on paper. Now, in this matchup, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys to win. Just because I do not trust the defense of the Eagles and the injuries that they have in the past, I think it piles up with them this matchup-wise, especially in the depth of their corners that they really don't have. I get they got Kevin Byard as safety, but CeeDee Lamb is gonna expose them. Devontae Turpin might expose them. I have some concerns. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have to have a fast start. They get behind, the game is damn near over. They gotta have a fast start. They have to stay ahead of the Eagles, and the Eagles can go for it on 4th down with their little tuck push. But I'm trusting the Cowboys. It comes down to Mike McCarthy. He cannot fuck up the play calling in this game. So I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, well, you already know where I'm going. I'm rolling with the Cowboys as well. Philly has the best run defense in the league. Also, one of the worst pass defenses. So in a season where Tony Pollard hasn't been expected to do all the work that it was, planned that he would do with Zeke's departure, we really haven't been leaning on him too much like we were last year. Like when he got hurt before the Niners game, he broke his leg. I was like, all right, well, we're screwed. Like we can't beat the Niners without Tony Pollard. This year, he's still a very valuable piece of our offense, but he's not the make it or break it player. So the fact that their run defense is so stifling doesn't scare me as much just because we're not relying on him as much as we did in the past. Dallas has been getting their pass game going in the past 2 weeks. Like I said, terrible secondary we're facing. And our secondary has been doing great. We're 3rd in passing yards allowed, and we're going to need to continue that against AJ and Devontae, obviously. And we don't really have the best run defense statistically. Now, you go to the past 3 games, we've held Christian McCaffrey to under 3 yards a carry. I believe that was at like 2.7. And we held Austin Eckler to 1.8 yards per carry. So statistically, it's not the best because of games earlier in the year. But you look at the recent play of our run defense, we've been stopping all pros to minimal gains. So it gives me confidence going in against DeAndre Swift, who's been playing amazing this year as well. And then, we look at the turnovers. Dallas is +6 when it comes to turnover differential. That's tied for 4th. Philly is -3 turnover differential. And then just in the grand scheme of things, Dak is 8-3 versus the Eagles in his career. So I just listed all those stats and stuff, but at the end of the day, it can just be simple, and it can be that Dak in his career has an overwhelmingly positive record against the Eagles. So I'm going to roll with my Cowboys here. I do think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close, but I'm giving the edge to the boys.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles win, but I'm just going to go with the Cowboys. Now, if they lose, I'm still going to say, how about the Cowboys? But, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And also, that's to all of you haters. The stats that he pointed out, that's to all you haters that said Carson Wentz was a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I never thought that at all. As much as a hater I am of the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't think Carson Wentz was ever a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. And look where he's at now.
Yeah,
Not in the league.
Yeah, he had like 7 really good games in that one season, and that was like his entire career highlight was those 7 games that one year before he got hurt. So, yeah, I mean, I wish he didn't get hurt. It would have been a cool rivalry to have, but it would have showed its head pretty soon.
I think the Jalen Hurts rivalry will probably be
better
because
I agree.
He's more consistent. Next matchup, Sunday Night Football. All right, these teams battled in the AFC Divisional Round last year. The Bills lost at home. Surprisingly last year because the Bengals offense was able to run the ball, burn clock. Cincinnati Bengals were at home. Also, this game last year was canceled due to the Jamarr Hamlin injury on a Monday Night Football game that cost the Bengals the number 1 seed. They cost it. The Chiefs ended up getting number 1 seed last year, but I had a feeling if that Bengals and Bills game continued, the Bengals last year was going to get the number 1 seed because they already beat the Chiefs. So I wanted to see Cincinnati in that number 1 seed. I really did, but it just didn't happen. Now, I understand the Cincinnati Bengals are not as good on offense. They're currently second to last in total offense. Their defense is mid-tier numbers-wise, but they've been very, very, very consistent. You did not see what they did to the 49ers, obviously. So that created some distraction. Their run game has not been efficient as well. So as far as that, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals to beat the Bills. Now, the Bills, they still have Josh Allen. They still have Stephon Diggs. They need to go to Gabe Davis more as well. They also signed Leonard Fournette this week. So, I mean, at least they have a running back besides him, besides James Cook, obviously. The Bills defense, they also signed Rasul Douglas this week as well. So that adds a corner spot to the Tre'Davious White injury as well. The Poyer situation. Poyer is kind of a little older, as you mentioned this week or a couple weeks back in the show. You mentioned he's older. He's not really, the same player as he once was. I'm taking the Bengals to win this game because, like I said, I have confidence in the AFC that the Bengals will be back in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. And Joe Burrow is fully healthy. Jamar Chase is always goddamn open. I am going to go ahead and take those Cincinnati Bengals. Who they say they'll beat them Bengals? I'm taking Cincinnati because Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Bengals here too. This game is weird because it really comes down to what quarterback are we getting from either one of these guys. And the trend for Joe is on an uptick. He's been playing terrible, bad, not good, and now great. Or he didn't go 3 straight great games, but he's getting better every week, and we just saw that last week. And then with Josh, he's got the most turnovers in the league, maybe behind Desmond Ridder, but I think he's got more than him as well. And their offense has just been super shaky as a whole. The defense hasn't been their best since their injuries, but obviously getting Rasul Douglas is great. But I don't know if the Bills have enough to slow down this momentum that Cincinnati has gained these past 2 weeks of just playing great football. The Bills are second in sacks, and the Bengals are down a lineman. So I don't think that this is going to be some, like the Bills don't show up and the Bengals roll them. Like, this is going to be a very competitive game, as it always is. But yeah, I mean, basically what I just said, if Josh Allen plays like we know he can, then he should be able to shred that defense. But Joe should be able to shred their defense if he plays up to his capabilities. So in a season where Josh has been super inconsistent when it comes to giving the ball away, I'm definitely more comfortable in Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
All right. This is it for this episode. Next episode, we'll get into the matchups, plus the surprising thing of Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler getting fired. Now, I'm not saying I was surprised that they got fired. The timing was very surprising because we both mentioned there wouldn't be some midseason firings, and I said Robert Vera might go first, and then Josh McDaniels went first. So a lot of discussions. The Raiders had really messed and Josh Jacobs as well. So we got a lot of thoughts on this. And like I said Josh McDaniels was a great offensive coordinator, but I didn't think he was a great head coach. So don't be surprised if I say that he goes back to the Patriots. I don't know if he can go back as the OC because we still have Bill O'Brien, but Josh McDaniels, just come back to New England and please help our offense because you would not get another head coaching job ever again. This is your final time. It's hard for coaches to get a third stint, but we're going to the next episode. This is Lambo Mass World Sports. With you, like, comment, subscribe to Total Pole Nation. Thanks, Sideline Sports Network, for giving us a platform. Next 5 minutes, Week 9 recap, plus Josh McDaniels firing. Have a great night. Adios.